What's happening, friends? Welcome back for another episode of Waynecast. I am super jazzed about today's episode. So joining me in studio, the one and only Paul Seguin. Welcome back.
What's up, man?
Episode 48 was the first one that you were on, you and Devin.
Yeah.
The Car and Seguin show.
Yeah.
So your half, the Seguin part, you are the fastest growing. What was the award again?
Fastest growing agent. That's really what it was.
You're getting taller every day.
I know.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That stretch of puberty came in.
The bourbon helps too.
Yeah. So, but that's cool. You had mentioned briefly when we were just talking that there's a lot of like top 3, top 5, and that's always segmented out. But fastest growing, that's got to be encouraging. How long have you been doing it?
Well, shoot. I mean, full time, just a little over 2 years now, but 5 years total. Just side, deals, family, friends, you name it, kind of like everyone else does for little side gigs, right? So, but yeah, I mean, everybody, you see it plastered, everyone plastered all over social media, like top 5, top 10, top 15. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, what did I get?
I think it's like top 5 out of like 7.
No, HomeSnap. So HomeSnap is the one who does it, and they say it right in their when you get the email. I mean, they say it's over 1 million agents nationwide.
Oh wow!
That they do the whole.
I wasn't saying you. I wasn't trying to take away from your award.
No,
I was saying the other people. Yeah, because I find that most people, being in marketing, that most people are full of it when they're saying stats. Because like, hey, I was in the top 10 of my high school. It's like, bro, you had 8 people in the school.
Right. There's no way everybody's in that.
Everyone's in the top 10. So it's just a really clever way to make yourself look better than you really are.
Yeah. No, I think there's like 1.5 million agents right now in the nation.
Okay. Yeah, we had Scott and Griffith on, so he was on just before you, and we were talking. I like to bring him in because, one, he's been doing it a long time. I think they just celebrated their 40th year in business, which is crazy. But he's always a good one for a pulse of, like, how are things going in Livingston County specifically, and then more so for, like, realtor turnover.
Right.
And market forecasting, because he's done it for so many seasons. You know, it's just really cool to see that perspective. For you, I like talking to you because you and I kind of came into our trades at nearly the same time. Yeah. So 2018 or so is when I started doing more marketing, and you kind of went into more real estate.
I remember that, the Rob Money Talks.
Yeah. Rob Talks Money.
Rob Talks Money. So I remember all the
yeah. If Yoda named it, you would be right. Rob Money Talks. But because I named it, I did it correctly. So so Rob Talks Money was the first thing, and it was largely around personal finance. Yeah. And then I realized very quickly that I need a lot of money to do that, because mostly everything was moving towards software. And if you didn't have $100,000 to $250,000 to put into an app to automate processes, you're kind of operating off of Excel and paper, and that's just very difficult to do. So as I was doing that, you moved into marketing, because I was marketing that company but we just didn't have the back end, because at the time it was me, and I brought Johnstone in to help a little bit, and then I had another person working very, very part-time, just trying to help me make connections, and it just wasn't going well.
Right.
But the marketing side started to take off. But what's been interesting is seeing the trend in realtors, and yesterday, actually, I went and spoke with KW Living, and I talked about 3 things. I talked about Google My Business, LinkedIn, and talked about podcasting. And the whole point of that was to explain to them how the way that people are telling you ought to market as a realtor is very quickly becoming old-fashioned. And it's more so because the volume that people are promising doesn't pay off, because you're spending all your time sifting through leads, calling nonsense. And I think you've seen that as well as you've started. Yeah. Because you see the marketers that are like, hey, you pay me $48 a month, and I'll fill your CRM.
Yeah. It's those little golden nuggets all the time, right? And I think I don't know if it's just because of the way, like, even just the technology has changed, right? Like, it seems like there is just all of these companies. Here's the one thing that I see a lot coming up, because I literally just got called yesterday from another one that's based out of Toronto, where they'll say, hey, we have this amazing, successful marketing system, and we'll just throw you a ton of leads, and you only pay us 20% at closing. Which, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not opposed to those kind of services, because it's not costing me a dime.
Right.
And if you're going to get me in front of actual people, and that's where my questions come in. When I get these phone calls from these people, it's like, okay, well, what's your vetting process? Are you just sending me a bunch of garbage that's just going to waste my time and then want to charge 20% at closing? Or are you actually vetting and you're sending me live people that are serious about buying that, can actually turn into something? Because that's the big difference. I mean, some companies just plummet you with leads. And it's like you said, you're just sitting, you're wasting hours and hours and hours just calling them, and it's garbage.
Right.
But they're good because, I prefer it that way. Like, I'll take on leads and then just pay you a referral fee at the end. It's fine with me.
Yeah, pay-per-lead is not a bad model. The problem is that model only works for big organizations, so big marketing companies, because they have the infrastructure, they have the debt, they have the cash flow. And
ISAs, inside salespeople that can handle it.
Yes, exactly right.
No.
Well, and also, too, just from the agency side, like us, Wayne Media, 12 people, we can't do cost per lead because it's too risky.
Right.
And, you'd like to say to people, hey, we are so sure of what we do, you only pay us for the leads. But it's not just risky from our performance perspective, it's also risky from your performance perspective. Mm-hmm. I am counting on you to get that person to the closing table that I gave you.
Right.
And that's what we tell people all the time is one of the things that we look at from a hierarchical perspective. That's a $10 word. Yeah, I hate saying that word. So just from a top-down...
Bring it back to English here.
Top-down organizational perspective, one thing that's really difficult is you have to trust that the person on the other end is going to get the business. So what we tell people all the time is, hey, if you're a brick and mortar shop and I'm, sending you calls and leads, and Mallory's at the front desk and she sucks at life and she's answering the phone with a really pissy attitude every day, she's turning away your business that I brought you
all day long.
And my efficacy as a marketer is, if it's cost per lead or pay per lead, is you getting that person closed. Mm-hmm. And there's different ways to do it. Like, you can do it on contract, you can do it on the number of leads, but for me, if I were in your shoes, it would need to be, I'm only going to pay you for what I get paid for.
Correct.
And that's just risky for to me, it's risky for both parties.
Right.
And that's why, like, the bigger agencies that have the cash flow, they have the debt, they can take that risk. That's when the cost per lead or pay per lead comes in. And it's really, I think it's really enticing for a business owner, because I'm only paying you for what I'm making.
Right.
Or you're only paying me for what you're making.
Right.
In that case.
Exactly.
So it's interesting to see how it's going. But my still favorite thing about realtors is when they get into a situation where they're like, hey, okay, so tell us about yourself, Paul. And you're like, oh, I buy homes, I help people, find homes. And, we know you're a realtor. Like, I just said that in your intro, but what else about you makes you different? And we just finished up a video production for you.
Yeah.
We didn't focus on, the fact that you can help people buy a home. I think that's somewhat implied. What we focused on is who you are as a person.
Right.
Because that's what's going to make people want to work with you.
Yeah.
Like, if I call a plumber and he calls me up and says, hey, or he answers and says, hey, we do a really good job at, like, fixing sinks and toilets. I'm like, bro, I hope so.
Like,
that's why I called.
Exactly.
But what's going to make me call that plumber isn't, I hope they're good at their job. That's sort of implied.
Right.
It's who they are as people.
Right.
It's what's going to, endear me to that individual.
Yeah.
And corporate companies understand this extremely well. That's why I only use Apple products.
Right.
Because they've done a very good job of storytelling and keeping me in that process. Mm-hmm. Small businesses need to do the same thing. They need to be transparent, authentic, and they need to actually talk about their DNA, or they will go out of business.
Right.
And that's the same thing with realtors.
Yep.
And they don't want to hear it. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't, because it makes it harder, right? It's harder to be yourself, and you understand that extremely well, and you've done it really well, which is why I think you're having the success that you are, is because you're very transparent.
Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think obviously we do a podcast with you, and I think that's a big part of just being me. I think I don't know. It's not all about the sales. It's more of the relationship. Right. And I think I'm been more just over 2 years full time. It's really starting to see the fruits of the labor really start coming, where I'm starting to see a lot of referrals.
Yeah.
Where my phone is just ringing from past clients. Hey, I got your number from Ryan and Amy. Hey, I got your number from Joseph. And they talked highly of you and the process. You took care of them. It was an amazing experience. And I think that's what it comes down to in real estate. Yeah. A lot of realtors do it. right? I mean, I follow a ton of them on social media, and it's just plastering sales and all this stuff. And I do it too, to an extent, but I've learned from you to start being 80-20, 80% me, 20% business. Because at the end of the day, like you just said, they know I'm in real estate. I don't need to hammer that home.
Right.
People already know it. But they want to know who they're going to be working with as they look to hire a realtor to sell or buy real estate. And so I just, I think I'm just a kind of a fun guy. I like to try to have fun in everything that I do. I don't see why we can't have fun. I mean, sure, real estate's it's stressful.
Hell yeah, it is. Like, that does not sound fun. I know you have fun doing it because your personality and you're made for that. For me, I could not be in the situation where I'm like, hey, we have to sell this home and purchase your home back to back, schedule the closings, get both offers on the table and agreed to.
Yeah.
And now we can exhale.
Yeah.
As long as the inspection passes.
Yeah. And appraisal.
Yeah. Yes. And it just keeps on going down the line because it gets stressful.
Yeah.
And that's where organization is really important.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of young agents burn out because I had someone the other day, really good friend of mine who I really value her in a particular industry, and I'll keep it somewhat anonymous.
Yeah.
But she was telling me that she was leaving an industry and going into real estate. And I was like, man, like, you're so good at what you do. Like, I would hate for you to be a statistic of like, I just didn't make it because I wasn't organized, or, someone promised me something at a seminar where I got a free hotel stay, and that's what makes me really nervous is there's people that go into it because they think, wow, if I can sell a $300,000 house and make 3%, that's $9,000. Right. That sounds like a lot of money, but it's not that easy. Like there's, I can't even tell you late nights, because I've seen it firsthand being the kid of a realtor.
Yeah.
I've seen the late nights. I've seen I have a showing at 8 p.m. because that's the only time they can make it work.
Or Saturday or Sunday.
When
everybody wants to be up north partying or whatever, having a good time with family.
Yeah. So it's not for the weak.
No.
At all. And that's why the ones that are successful, I don't know what the attrition rate is off the top of my head, but I would imagine that there's a very convincing year that once you hit that year, you're in it for the long haul and you're going to have nothing but success.
Yeah, so
because you've
2
endured.
Years.
Is it 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because I was talking with Johnston the other day, and he called me and said something that was really strange to hear, but made a lot of sense. As he said, I think I finally hit the referral period of our business. And he's like, from everything I read in sales, it takes 2 years to get a consistent referral base from networking.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it down in Louisville about 2 years now. And we can see things, consistently coming through now, not just from marketing and advertising, but also through referrals, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's easier.
It's the best business.
Yes, it is.
It really is. I mean, like you said, there's so many things out there, and I follow a coach. I haven't hired him yet because I'm just more so still in that stage before I sign that check to hire a full-time coach. But a lot he talks about where it's like there's so many golden nuggets, and this could probably be applied for anybody's industry, right? Like especially with just all the technology, the internet, the software, the systems. Like how do you pick which one is good? Right? Because there's probably multiple companies for any industry you're in of like, hey, we can streamline this for you. We can make this easy. We can do this. We can do that. Here you go. Sign up. Right?
100%.
And obviously real estate's the same thing where there's constantly, I get emails and phone calls and, when you're just looking at stuff online, there's like, oh, they can make this process faster and we can make sure that your lead pipeline is always full. And there's those golden nuggets. But back to what you're saying is it's the referral business is the best.
Yeah.
Because there's already that warm introduction. They already have someone saying no. Like one of my most recent referrals that I've gotten was from a couple that I just did a buy sell for.
Yeah.
And so they came to me to one of my client events, and it was simply, she's like, I just have to hands down tell you that you have changed our lives. And I'm like, no, come on. She's like, no, honestly, you have. She's like, you have found us our dream home, and you made the whole process of selling our house and getting this one so easy. And I said, well, hey, you know, I mean, I'm glad that we were able to make it all work. And she's like, no, like, you have no idea how much it has changed my life. And them have since then, I've already referred 2 clients.
Yeah.
And it's just that conversations are so easy. When you're dealing with like internet leads and stuff like that, it's like, all right, great. Now you're trying to build this trust. You're trying to build this welcoming area with these people. Or when I get a call from someone like that, they're like, yeah, Amy told me all about you. You did a wonderful job. So yeah, this is what we're looking for. And it's boom.
Yeah, I trust Amy. Amy trusts you.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we're already, 50% of the work has already been done. And in business, this is a really good concept for people listening. If it doesn't matter what industry you're in, and I've often said, like, the perfect restaurant would be one that has a kitchen with a glass wall.
Right.
Because if you are confident enough in your process to
show it
behind
off
the curtain,
yeah,
you're going to have nothing but success. You know, we had the Livingston Daily Press was in here, and they did a little piece on Speakeasy, which was really cool. One thing I told her that didn't make the paper, and I kind of understand why, was I said the biggest thing that's going to sink businesses, especially in downtown Brighton, is the lack of transparency. Businesses that don't want to pull back the curtain and reveal who they are, nothing separates them from somebody else, right?
Correct.
So if you sell hats and the guy next to you sells hats and all you talk about is how you both sell hats, no one cares.
Right.
They're going to go buy hats on Amazon because they're cheaper, because Amazon just sells hats with no personality, no DNA. It's
click a button.
Yeah. What makes Amazon is the simplicity,
Right.
not the personality.
No.
What makes downtown and local businesses stand out is the personality.
Yeah, the story behind the storefront.
Exactly. So when everyone talks about like small business, and again, I get crap for this all the time, but when everyone's
but it makes sense.
Well, when everyone's like, shop small, shop local, it's like, I will if they're good.
Right.
But like, I'm not just going to blindly throw my money at someone that's not doing a good job.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Like when we talk about supporting small business, let's actually support it and give them the right tools to succeed rather than just fluffing them up with all this bullshit.
Right.
Like all these marketing tactics and just, you just got to be, what's the most common one is like, you just have to be one step ahead of your competition. Well, that's a great cliche, but what does that mean?
Right.
And the biggest thing is, what is your DNA of the company? What makes you stand out? What's your X factor? If you can't articulate that, don't open your business.
Right. Yeah.
And that is off-putting to a lot of people because a lot of people are in that boat. They did it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
They did it for the ease.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do things for money and when you do things because it's easy, it's not going to be long term.
No, it's transactional.
Exactly right.
That's all it is.
Exactly right.
And people know that. People see it. I mean, I know of one big firm here locally that is just very transactional. And when you talk to people who have dealt with them, that's honestly what they say is just like, yeah, that was a number. That was it.
Yeah, thank you, client 248692.
See you later.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love what I do, and I think my personality, but I love just creating relationships.
Yeah,
and I think it's the best way. It's the fun to me. It's the most fun way to build a business, and at the same time, we get to, I mean, buying homes is one of the biggest purchases of most people's lives.
Yeah,
and it's stressful. It can be.
No, it is. It's a process where you like I remember the first time Beth and I went. We had an apartment the first year we got married. We lived in Lansing, and we went and looked at houses, and we didn't have a huge budget. I think like this was like 20. Man, she's gonna beat me up for that. We got married in 2013. We just 8 years was like yesterday.
Congratulations!
Thanks for that.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. So 2013, right? I know she's a sweetheart. Everyone needs a Beth in their life. Not mine. You can't marry her. It's already taken.
It's my Beth.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. So we got married in 2013, bought a house in 2014, and I think like our budget was like right around $100,000.
Yeah.
It was like nothing crazy. So we were looking at these houses.
Shoot, back in 14, could you buy a real nice house?
Oh, absolutely. Because
you bought it at the right time.
Yes, and that's kind of the nice part about the story is because we bought when we came from apartment to house, didn't have to sell our house for a loss because we're coming out of the recession. And I think we bought the house we had for like 75 or 76 grand, and we sold it for double 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
just because of where we landed on the market, which was really good. But all that to say, the realtor that we had did not do a good job at all about like educating us, because this is our first time. Like, he sent us to this mortgage company that didn't make me feel good. It was all like back alley, super sleazy. You know, we're going to get you this FHA. And I was like, all right, I kind of know what that is. But there was just no education in the process.
Right.
You know, compared to the next realtor that we had that, you know, sold us the house we have now, like, she was phenomenal.
Yep.
And I still recommend, and then I was talking with Johnny about this the other day, because, you know, we have so many realtor friends that come in here. We got you, and then obviously Scott Griffith, and then the realtor that I had that sold my house. And like, when I make referrals, it's all location based. So it's like, you know, if you're in Canton, better call Paul,
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So it's huge, but the education piece is so important.
Oh yeah.
And if it's all transactional, if it's all, I just got to get this deal across the line, one, you're going to sell less things because people sense that. Like, he brought me to a house that had like, I'll never forget, like, we go there. I don't even know if Beth went in. She could probably tell you more than me. She's got a way better memory. But like, I went in there and there was like a pea stained mattress.
Oh,
and like it was almost like a foreclosure, but people still live there. And it was awful. And he's like, yeah, this is like $52,000. And I'm like, no. In like one of the worst parts of Lansing. I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's all about the connection and the relationship. And that's what people, and you're going to understand this, I think, even more thoroughly as you start bringing on more agents under you, because then your next job is going to be, how do I distill myself through that person?
Right.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
You know, even here, like, you know, we have Amanda that you're working with, and, you know, we have Tori and Madison and, you know, our great creative team. Like, one of my biggest challenges was, how do I, when people see them, how do they see me?
Right.
You know,
and how we do business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do they represent the company? And luckily we've had nothing but excellent people in here.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest key, is hiring well.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's the saying. I truly believe it. It's what's the saying? Fire quickly, hire slowly, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because you have to, you know, and I'm learning that as we're growing. You know, I have a buyer's agent on. I've bring my first buyer's agent. I'm hiring now an administrative assistant because I just can't keep up myself with the business we're doing. But I'm actually now bringing on another agent this week for EXP, and she's bringing on more agents, and she's looking for guidance of how to grow that. And it's, you know, one of the funnest parts that I get to do as a realtor is just like what you just touched on, is the education part, right? Yeah. I mean, a buyer's consultation is huge. We don't move forward until that's completed, because I'm now going to have the opportunity to learn the most about you guys.
Yep.
Not just your home needs, but your personal, right? Secretly, I'm studying them as well, right? I'm asking questions. Selling is not telling, it's asking questions.
100%.
It's all it's about. Like, until you as a salesperson, so if you're listening to this and you're in sales, just shut up. Just start asking questions. The more you can learn about the person sitting in front of you, the more they're going to be easily going to trust you. Yeah. Because you're talking about them. You're not just blabbering about, oh yeah, I sold 10 million last year, 50 transactions. My average is 300,000. What are you looking for?
Right. Well, and that's a great point. I think it's episode 41 of this show. I just recorded it recently and just kind of post-dated it or I don't know what the right term is
for a later time.
Yeah, it was before, like I posted it like in the past.
Yeah.
And that was on how I sell things. And my biggest takeaway was, like, if you can get them to talk more than you're good
winning.
To go.
Yeah.
Because if all you're doing is like, I'm glad you said, you know, look at all these great things I've done, or I'm the fastest growing realtor. It's like, cool, man, but tell me.
I'm here for me.
Yeah. Like, I need you to listen to what I need.
Correct.
You already got the meeting.
Yeah.
You already got the meeting. So just shut up.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, if you're sitting across the table from someone, you've won half the battle.
Exactly.
Now just shut up and figure out what they want and then deliver that. Absolutely. And I think that's what sometimes is always missed in sales, is like, or our product's better. Wonderful. But I haven't told you what I want. Right. And then, okay, even if you can offer that, tailor it to me or find it for me. And I think that's just, we get missed a lot, is just, it's so salesy. approach.
And another thing too is like if you need something I can't have, or I can't do for you, I'm going to tell you 100%. Where to go get it. 100%. I'm not going to make up a service to suit you. That's a slippery slope, especially for us because we have so many people doing so many things now. If I invent a service, that's going to make everyone else's life hell.
Because then who do you put it on?
Yes, because there's no process in place. There's no procedures. There's no project management.
Processes are money.
It makes everything simpler. And that's something we've been working on a ton is just writing things, documenting things.
Yeah.
So that way when new people come in, there's already a written way. It's not just in my head.
I have it. I have a template for every single deal, and it's just checking boxes.
Exactly.
Right? After the first meeting, boom, do this. Send them this email. Send a thank you. Send a little email, and then you just go down the list, and then once it kind of gets, obviously during the search point, there's a little empty bar because you're just looking. You're home shopping.
My favorite thing is when people talk about procedures, I see this mentality online. It's like, well, that just seems too robotic, or it seems too. And it's like, no, it's organized.
It's consistency.
Yes,
it's kind of been the word for my year. 2021 has been my word. I have it at my office. It's just consistency.
I like that,
and I've sucked at it, to be honest. But it just reminds me all the time.
Yeah,
try to just become more consistent.
Yeah,
and things become a little easier. Robotic or not, I don't care. Like, to me, it's become like the biggest other thing was time blocking. Yeah. Like my schedule. It's and especially in in any industry. I hate just singling out ours. Like we're some special realtors. We're special people. No, it's just in the busy of anything you're doing, your schedule can go wacko in the matter of a minute, right? And I've tried to learn as my business is growing to really say no when I don't need to do something right away.
That's huge.
Oh, it's so big.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen into that trap so many times where it's like, oh, shoot, I have to do this now. No, I don't.
Right.
No one's dying. It does not need to be done right now because then it throws your whole rest of your day off, and then you go back and you're like, well, didn't do those because of that one thing that popped up.
Yeah, that didn't materialize like you thought it would.
No, it never does.
And that's usually when we moved in here. Like I was so excited to have this space. I was just like, I was dead set on, ringing the gong so much that happened a lot where it was like, I had my day planned out and then like something came up and there was nothing certain about it.
Right.
And I went and chased it. And then I got back to my desk and I was like, well, damn, I didn't do anything that I wanted to.
And it's already 4:00.
Yes.
Right.
And so it's just, there's a lot to be said for schedule blocking.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy on YouTube, really recommend him. His name's Matt Diavella.
Yeah.
He talks about productivity hacks. It's like little 5 to 10 minute videos. He's actually he's a filmmaker by trade, but he does a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
But his videos are phenomenal. And he talks about, how to block calendars and, productivity in small business. And it's all really good stuff. So if anyone's listening,
check it
out. I highly
out.
recommend him.
I'm going to.
Yeah. I'll link him up. I'll link him up in the show notes here too.
Yeah.
I just like him so much. And anything that he comes out with, like he has classes, like slow growth classes for small business.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm in for anything that he does because he's just given so much.
It's good stuff. I mean, I'm still learning. Like it's hard. Sometimes I fall into that trap. I'm like, gosh dang it, what? Why? Like, why did I do that?
Yep.
Just wasted 2 hours for nothing.
Yep.
It could have waited. Easily could have been done the next day.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just learning to do is like, is this really needed now? No. Can it wait till tomorrow? Yes. Okay. Put it in my time slot tomorrow.
Yeah.
11 o'clock after prospecting. Boom. First thing I do is take care of this issue.
Yep.
Send. I can reply back and say, hey, got it. I'll get it done. I'll get back with you tomorrow. I mean, it takes 2 seconds and I'm still on my block.
For me, I will say that's one of the things I'm probably the worst at is someone will send me something and in my head, I replied. I'm like, yes.
Yes. I do that too. And then I go back and I'm like, oh, shoot, I never sent that text message.
Yeah. So now since Julie's been here and she's been helping me with the schedules and whatnot, so now I make sure like if I don't have a reply signal, the little arrow in the inbox, I go and make sure at the end of the day, everyone has a yes, I'm working on it or a because in my head I'm like, yeah, I got it. It's on the docket. We're gonna, we're on schedule. There's no problems. But if they don't hear from me until like the next day, they might say, "Is everything cool?"
Right.
I'm like, well, yeah, of course it's cool. Like,
but I don't know
news,
that.
They don't know that. But in my mind, no news is good news.
Yeah, right.
So it's interesting the communication aspect in small business because as you and I both keep adding layers,
right?
It's just another problem to figure out.
Yeah, but it's another process to put in place.
Yeah, and it's a good problem to have.
It is.
So scaling up is much better than scaling down.
100%.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So Paul, in the next few months, what's on the horizon for you?
You know, I think it's just really kind of just growing on the organization. I feel that we're at the place right now of just there's growth to be had. It's a little daunting, but it's also fun at the same time.
Yeah.
Just being at the opportunity to know that, you know, we're growing at a pretty good rate, I would say. I mean, hence getting the fastest growing agent award. But yeah, I think that's right. I'm at the line right now where I have to make those decisions, and I think just, you know, knowing from mistakes I've made in the past, I know like I want to do it right this time. So I'm trying to take it a little bit slower, but sometimes the business forces you to make those decisions, I think, a little quicker than you want to. But I think that's good though. I think it's a good problem to have at the same time, right? I mean, your business is growing and it's got to come.
100%.
You know, so, but no, I think it's just surrounding myself with the right people. You know, obviously working with you guys when it comes to marketing is huge. I know that you guys do a phenomenal job, and not to do like a huge plug, but it is important, a part of my business. And it's doing that. It's making sure I have the right people in the place to grow and to make those next steps. And that's where I'm at. So it's, you know, just trying to, like you said, it's implementing the things that I've done that's seen success and saying, okay, how can we duplicate this with others? Yeah. And continue that same pattern for not only just our growth, but their growth. And right. I think that's the structure that I've created in my business is way different than everybody. Right. I kind of take an approach, more of a giver, right? I'm not trying to self-boast, but I'm not one to just take from others. Like I really like to serve and help. Yeah. And I think that's to the core of who I am, is I want to give in any way that I can. Like I don't want to make a zillion dollars and it's just not me. Like even if my business continues to grow that direction, you'll never see me kind of just toting the horn of what our business has done. I want my company to be a byproduct of our employees or who we're working with, and help them grow, not me. I mean, I'm pretty thankful for what I already have, so it's just a matter of giving back and helping. So our plan, our structure, our agent compensation is different than everybody. I mean, most people out there are just 50-50, 60-40 agent, you know, broker oriented. I mean, it's a lot more to the agent, because I think that's the way it is. I mean, I can give you the tools and help you, but I want to see you grow before our business grows first. So I don't know. Different approach.
It's a good philosophy to have, and everything you tell me about EXP seems like a good shop to work with. So
yeah, I love it. It's a lot of opportunities. It gives back. We're agent oriented. I mean, it's the only brokerage I want to be with.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, always a pleasure, my friend. We're going to do this again, and we'll do a much longer cut because I still have things on the docket I want to talk about.
You got it, man.
We'll get you back in here shortly.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. I appreciate it. All right, gang, and that's it for this episode of Waynecast. I appreciate you all listening. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.